Now on to round 3 in the Pitbike Open category. Charlie Nesbitt coming into this one with pole position and 2 wins out of 2. He's been untouchable so far through this weekend. Max Cook came the closest through qualifying, really, to upsetting the apple cart in that sense, but since then he hasn't made it onto the podium. Twice he's been battled aside from that P2 on the grid and relegated down to 4th position, so he has 2 4th places to his name. 3rd in the lineup on the grid for this one, Eliot Pinson. Now, that second row of the grid is pretty interesting because Eliot Pinson and James Rose have exchanged places from race 1 to race 2. Pinson on third position last time out after finishing runner-up in race 1, and James Rose, who finished 3rd first time out, finishing runner-up last time around. So the battle for 2nd and 3rd position could well be the most interesting here. 5th place in each of the 2 races so far, and 5th on the grid it's Ryan O'Grady on the 3rd row alongside Jack Walters with 2 8th position finishes. Not quite what he's wanted from his 2 races so far from a P6 grid position. The 4th row and the remainder of the favourites are Will Howarth on the 96 bike and Tom Alexander on the number 5 bike who has finished P7 in each of his 2 races so far. Watch for Charlie Nesbitt, the unbeaten favourite then, off pole. A lot of creeping, particularly from the 2nd row. And that's a good start from the outside of the grid from James Rose, who is away well in 3rd position, but not able to upset the 2 riders on the front row of the grid. Trying to challenge down the inside, though, as they head towards Surtees. And out of Surtees, well, side by side for 2nd position. Actually, it did look as though James Rose had made that position, but then with the right-hander, he was stuck on the outside line and all the way through the Lancaster curve on the wrong part of the track. There was no way through for him there. So it's Charlie Nesbitt versus Max Cook up front. But on each occasion that we've seen this duel so far, Cook has come off worse and ended up dropping down to 4th position. Can Nesbitt hold on again here in race number 3? Down the inside goes Max Cook, diving through. James Rose under pressure as well. O'Grady in the mix. It's Cook from Nesbitt. He's made that move stick. Pinson up in 3rd. O'Grady, as I said, up to 4th position. Will Howarth is next in line in 5th place, but already 5th position down are all dropping away from the front runners. Pinson setting a decent pace there in 3rd position, but it's Cook versus Nesbitt up front. This is more like it from Max Cook, taking advantage of that front row grid slot into 2nd, battling with James Rose on the opening lap, and then launching after Charlie Nesbitt with an inside attack. Not waiting for his moment, just going for it straight away into Raymond's at the end of lap number 1. Will we see another position change at the end of lap 2? Different situation for Charlie Nesbitt now. He's the chaser instead of the rider being chased, with Max Cook having hit the front. Charlie Nesbitt in 2nd position. 3rd place still with Eliot Pinson. Max Cook setting a new fastest lap of the race last time around. No great surprises there, although that proves that he was going faster than Charlie Nesbitt on lap 2. So not only has he got the lead position, he's making good use of it. Opening out a little bit of a margin, only 0.3 of a second ahead of Charlie Nesbitt in 2nd. A second further back down the road, Eliot Pinson and then Ryan O'Grady. But different to the previous races, that the rest of the field is spreading out a little bit. Only Jack Walters and Tom Alexander really battling for position. Ryan O'Grady here on the tail, challenging for that 3rd position. Once again, they're side by side for P3. James Rose losing out. Actually, this is the 2nd time that James Rose hasn't appeared on the timing screens here at Clandau after he dropped off them last time out in race number 2. The same situation here. That's thrown a little bit of confusion trackside. But he's still very much in the mix for the top 4 positions and challenging for a podium once again. He took 2nd place last time out after a race-long struggle with Eliot Pinson, and it's exactly the same situation here, although this time they're all behind Max Cook, who's broken clear out in front. Cook in front then, Nesbitt in 2nd, separate race over 3rd and 4th positions. There's another battle down the order for 8th place, Jack Walters, Tom Alexander and Callum Wybrow. But at the moment it's P3 that's the most closely fought after. They're side by side coming down the start-finish straight and just about holding on James Rose once again. That's a couple of attempts that Eliot Pinson has made down the inside, and more than once now that James Rose has had to defend quite forcefully to hold on to third position. The race that I was talking about for 7th, 8th and 9th is being decided into Raymond's with another couple of position changes, and Josh Ingram at the back getting the better of Craig Walker on Raymond's as well. Walters still holding on from Tom Alexander then in 7th position, but Alexander less than 0.2 of a second behind in the race for 7th place. The race leading battle has seemingly settled down, 0.7 of a second now between Max Cook and Charlie Nesbitt. And Nesbitt looks like he might be about to see his first defeat of the day. Although just as I say that, there's a curse of the commentator, and Charlie Nesbitt has put in a new fastest lap of the race and narrows the gap down to less than half a second. Cook versus Nesbitt close up front. Still close in the race for 3rd and 4th positions as well, but it's Cook who's leading the way. Looking for the 7th position battle coming over the line unchanged. Jack Walters and Tom Alexander still nose to tail. And nose to tail at the top of the field as well. This is the closest that these two have been for quite some time. Cook versus Nesbitt coming down to Raymond's. And moving to block once again Max Cook, but Nesbitt is as close as he's been. Can't really get the run off Raymond's though, doesn't have a pace advantage there, and will have to follow through turn 1, through the hook. No overtaking opportunity there. A couple of riders have gone for big moves down the inside into the Bomber Straight, which has lived up to its name here today. Surtees has caught out a couple of the riders. They're working their way through now there and onto the Lancaster Straight. Charlie Nesbitt setting a new fastest lap of the race last time around, as I said. Less than 0.3 of a second, that gap between positions 1 and 2 last time around. As they work their way towards lap traffic for the first time, and this could liven things up as well. Cook versus Nesbitt. And the back marker moves right out of the way. Full credit to one of the lesser ranked riders in the race who's moved aside to enable the front two to run clear. So still Cook versus Nesbitt, but Nesbitt dropping back last lap around again to that 0.6 of a second marker. And that was the margin for a couple of laps between Cook and Nesbitt. At that stage of the race, it seemed as though things were more or less settled. It's come alive since then. Still looking for the further battles further down the order, with Jack Walters still holding off Tom Alexander, both of them setting new personal best last lap around. Cook from Nesbitt, that gap has been cut down once again. Here we go down into Raymond's. Best passing opportunity. Cook holds the racing line. Nesbitt's going for the cutback. Again, not close enough to land a blow, but again, setting a new fastest lap of the race, and Nesbitt is really on the march now. Cook leading the way, less than 0.2 of a second ahead of Charlie Nesbitt, who gained almost half a second on that last lap. Has Nesbitt got enough of an advantage to be able to make a pass for the race lead as they come down the Lancaster curve? One of the longest turns on the straight, a winding right-hander that then sharpens onto a straight before the Dell. Into the Dell now, still 1 and 2. Max Cook and Charlie Nesbitt, nose to tail. Nesbitt waiting for an opportunity to come through. As they pass back markers, that's not going to be the ideal time to meet lap traffic, and Charlie Nesbitt held back there slightly going into Raymond's, and that's enabled Cook to escape away once again. Again, that margin is up to 0.6 of a second. The race leading position seesawing in this one, race 3 in the Pitbike Open category. Clear in 3rd position now is James Rose, who doesn't look under too much pressure from Eliot Pinson, despite Pinson setting a new personal best on that lap number 9. That's all about 10 seconds away from the race-leading battle between Max Cook and Charlie Nesbitt. We still have that separate race for 7th and 8th positions between Jack Walters and Tom Alexander. Walters set to improve on his previous best result of 2 8th position finishes here today, with Alexander down in 8th position. So those two swapping places compared to their previous 2 appearances out on track. The top 2 still as close as they've been throughout the race. Less than 0.2 of a second. Nesbitt gaining back in lost ground last time around, but each time he moves to strike, the move is made against him. He's got down the inside this time around though, and coming through for the race lead. They're side by side once again, coming off Surtees and into the Lancaster curve. So Nesbitt went for the dive move down into the Bomber Straight, and down the inside into Surtees, then ended up on the wrong part of the circuit. They're still almost side by side, nose to tail at very least, as we see Max Cook and Charlie Nesbitt out in front. And will there be another position change into Raymond's? Not this time, not close enough to swap around again as they pass into the final lap. Still nose to tail, Nesbitt in front then, Cook in second position. Nesbitt having made that pass through the bomber straight around Surtees and then onto the Lancaster curve last lap on lap number 10. Can Cook respond? This will still be his first podium finish of the weekend, still his best result of the weekend, if he can hold on in second place, which he looks set to do. James Rose nowhere by comparison, and Eliot Pinson well adrift of what would have been a third podium finish if he could have managed it of the weekend. Nesbitt versus Cook, still nose to tail, still close, running down the hanger straight for the final time. The race leader looks over his shoulder. They're not going to encounter the lap traffic on the apex of Raymond's for the final time. Going for the cutback, Max Cook. It's close, but it's not close enough. And Charlie Nesbitt makes it 3 wins out of 3 after making a crucial overtaking manoeuvre on the penultimate lap. And we are close for third position, much closer than I thought we were going to be in the run down to the line, as Eliot Pinson recaptures the position. At one stage, James Rose had that completely settled, but Pinson came back into it and then made an overtaking manoeuvre in the closing stages for P3. So the results of the third race in the Pitbike Open category, a win for Charlie Nesbitt after an exciting duel between himself and Max Cook. A separate race between Eliot Pinson and James Rose, but it's Pinson who eventually gets the job done there. Ryan O'Grady finishing in 5th position, Will Howarth in 6th, then Greg Pym behind Tom Alexander, who takes 7th, and Jack Walters, who rounds out the top 9. Callum Wybrow holding on to 10th position as things stand.
We're back with more junior action after the break. It's the Minimoto AC40 Pro Class. Don't miss that one.